Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Earthmaster here, jumping in on this Wednesday morning. It is about 8:17 a.m. California time, October 30th, 2024. Halloween tomorrow. Goodness. Latest activity here shows some movement in California with the latest quake here on the globe, a point 0.9. Check out this super deep earthquake there across the area of Papua New Guinea region. A 6-pointer coming in a couple hours ago. Super deep earthquake here into the subduction zone underneath the Bismarck Sea area. 323 miles deep for that quake. I was talking about how quiet it was last night. I guarantee you it's not going to be much quieter, or not much quiet, for the remainder of the time following this super deep earthquake today. I expect things to really ramp up following that deep quake. Again, 323 miles deep, so that's going to trigger quite a bit of stress out there across the area. For the West Coast, there's that earthquake striking out outside the Santa Paula area, 2.1 coming in. Nothing big out here overnight. Let's see what we got for the latest activity. Yeah, really nothing above 2.5 overnight. Most of the movement here has been generally small microquake activity here across California, but we'll see how things get rolling today following that deeper activity way out to the west here across the Pacific. The rest of the country out here pretty quiet. Not a whole lot going on majorly for that region. Following or prior to that 6-pointer, let's see what we had. Most of this activity here from yesterday, and it looks like we had a couple 4s there just after midnight into the Chile area underneath this region. Fairly deep activity here into the Peru-Chile Trench. Quick glance at the earthquake 3D globe here. Somewhat elevated seismic activity here across the Middle America Trench again, stretching down into the Peru-Chile Trench. So it's always an active area of seismic movement. But we'll see what happens today following that big 6-pointer there, super deep quake. They always tend to get the ball rolling, so to speak, in terms of seismic activity increase, that is. Space weather activity looks like we're starting to finally get rid of that proton event there. Still somewhat elevated here across the polar regions, but man, about 5 solid days of bombardment there of elevated charged protons that was affecting the ionosphere out there. Things are starting to whimper out, so to speak, there across that area. No major flares overnight, mostly sea flare activity, but I guarantee you we're going to get a little chance here of some further X-flare activity from a couple different regions here on the northeastern quadrant of the sun as soon as that loads. A couple different areas that are quite capable of producing some stronger flaring. Looks like this area down here is starting to flare up a little bit as well. So this area is going to be 3876 here, it looks like. This region's showing a little bit of growth overnight here. Getting some complexity there with the colors. And of course, these 2 massive sunspots over here. I got my eye on this area out of all of them right now in terms of the most potential, in terms of obviously stronger solar flare activity. So we'll keep an eye on that. Severe weather today. Goodness, if you guys are out there in the plain states, I would be very weather aware today. It's October. Halloween tomorrow. This is pretty much a typical spring setup out here, but it's fall, obviously. Got the jet stream dipping down south here, interacting with the warm, moist air. That's going to create some severe thunderstorm potential here today with a big area of tornado activity potential today. And in the hatched area, that 10% hatched area, we could see, an EF up to an EF5 tornado there within about 25 miles of a point. This is just the main area of concern. Obviously, you got 5% and a 2% zone out there as well that can see tornado activity as well. But this is where the Storm Prediction Center feels that most of the environment is going to be capable of producing these strong, damaging tornadoes. Also, some big-time wind and even a little bit of large hail potential out there as well across that area. So just be on guard for that setup. Now, if we look at the, let's go up here to the region, South Central. I want to show you guys potentially what this may look like as the day goes ahead here. You got these storms popping up with that low pressure system. And of course, the later it gets, the warmer Uh, the warmer environment out here will allow for some further convection down south along that line. And some of these cells out here definitely capable of producing some tornadoes. And of course, those rotating supercells there will eventually form into more of a squall line setup overnight and continue its way eastward. But the big deal is when these things start to pop up here, these individual localized thunderstorms, those are the ones that you got to watch. If you got a whole band of them, yes, there's obviously some severe weather concern, but it's these single ones that are capable of getting going with the large damaging tornadoes. So just stay on guard there, folks. Be weather aware. Pretty cool out here in Northern California this morning. I think we dropped down to about 42 degrees for a low. It's 45 right now, so it's actually quite nice. Another storm system knocking on the door here for Halloween night. Going to be wet and cold out here for Halloween. Not a whole lot of rain down here in Northern California for the valley and the mountains. Yes, Oregon, Washington as well. But it should be cool. Maybe a little bit of sprinkles out here across Redding southward, but really not expecting a soaker for Halloween there in my neck of the woods. A little bit bigger system behind that for the weekend. And continual severe weather threats there across the southern plains. Same area that's getting hit, that will be getting hit today. So it's just that time of year here. Things are starting to mix up. Got a lot of colder, drier air interacting with the moist air out here in place. And it looks like it's going to be at least a week here, potentially, of severe weather threats here across Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and other areas out here as we dive deeper into November. After that, who knows? It's maybe another repeat pattern. A lot of times in the La Nina years, you get these colder systems dipping down from the northwest here and following this path that we're seeing with these low pressure systems and then interacting, pulling up that warmer air and creating the severe thunderstorm activity. Unfortunately, those type of setups there keep Northern California somewhat dry. I'd like to see a little bit more west pattern here from the southwest with these storms coming in to soak California, but we'll just take what we can get for right now. Either way, a lot of systems there on the map, and of course, as we dive deeper towards the winter months, that will be a common thing out here. Not for sure what's going on here with this. Maybe, that's way out there. This is over 2 weeks away, just about 2 weeks away. And we all seen how this last one played out. It pretty much was shown the same thing, and then it completely disappeared off the map here in the last couple days. So don't pay any attention to this right now unless we get within a few days of that, and it's still showing consistency in the weather models. But they're hinting at something out there across the Caribbean area into Florida towards the middle of November for tropical activity, a hurricane. All right, so getting a little bit better, not completely 100% well, still just lingering. This is one of the more longer duration events that I've had in a little while. Not for sure what's going on. The kids had it, Missy Mimi's had it for a little bit, and then I was the last to get it. And I think it's just like a little bit of bronchitis in a way, but it's a gnarly one, let me tell you. All right. Have a good day, folks. We'll just kind of keep an eye on things. I have a feeling, like I said, things are going to be ramping up out here following that 6-pointer. That's a pretty deep one, and it's actually a fairly large event in there as well. And most of the time, these deeper quakes tend to trigger quite the domino effect out here in terms of elevated seismic activity. We'll catch you guys out here a little bit later on this afternoon, folks. Have a good one.